beyond the brief. Today, we're diving into a breakthrough shift in customer service, how enterprises are moving beyond traditional workflows towards autonomous AI agents that can act, negotiate, and make decisions in real time. For decades, customer service has followed the same familiar pattern. A ticket is logged, routed, escalated, and eventually closed. Enterprises have invested heavily in optimizing this model through automation, analytics, and process engineering. Yet, despite these efficiency gains, the underlying paradigm has remained largely unchanged. Workflows are reactive, rigid, and often slow to respond to dynamic customer needs. Now, a new operating model is emerging. Instead of linear workflows, enterprises are deploying autonomous AI agents aligned to specific business functions, capable of reasoning, negotiating, delegating tasks, and acting in real time. This isn't incremental automation, it's a structural shift from process-driven execution to intent-driven, agent-led operations. Joining us today is Muneeb Haq Gilani, Senior Director of Professional Services at Confiz, who will shed light on what it really takes to manage and scale autonomous AI agents in modern customer service. Muneeb, enterprises have made incredible progress in observing complex data in AI systems, but why does visibility alone not guarantee operational maturity?
Thank you, Manam, for having me today. Yes, it's true that enterprises have made real progress in observing complex data and AI systems. With modern tracing and telemetry standards, it's now possible to see how agents interact, where decisions are made, and how outcomes emerge. This level of transparency represents a significant advance compared to earlier generations of distributed systems. But as you mentioned, visibility alone does not equal operational maturity. In enterprise environments, the ability to observe failure without the authority to intervene undermines trust. Seeing an agentic workflow spiral into loop, knowing exactly what's happening, yet having no option beyond a full shutdown does not constitute control. It's actually a containment. Observability tells you what is happening. Control determines whether the system can be relied upon at scale or not. Without the ability to intervene, isolate, or redirect behavior, transparency becomes passive. Passive systems force organizations back into reactive operating modes, precisely what agentic architectures are meant to move beyond.
That makes sense, Muneeb. If transparency alone isn't enough, it begs the question, are the tools enterprises are currently using equipped to manage these intelligent autonomous agents, or do they fall short? Why do existing operational tools fall short?
Because most operational tools were built to orchestrate infrastructure. They were not designed to govern intelligent and adaptive behavior. In multi-agent systems, real work happens in coordination. Agents negotiate, hand off decisions, and adapt them in real time. When something breaks, failures rarely originate at infrastructure layer, they emerge from interactions between the agents. Most enterprise tooling is not designed to operate at the level where agentic systems actually function. There is no native concept of pausing an agent in mid-decision, isolating a faulty negotiation, or redirecting intent while execution is in progress. When issues arise, the only option response or only available response remains infrastructure level intervention. And that response is inherently blunt and costly. So for example, stopping a container to resolve one faulty interaction interrupts every healthy workflow running alongside it. And so that means throughput is reduced, context is lost, and business continuity is impacted, even though the failure was localized. Multi-agent systems require orchestration at the agent level, not infrastructure. Until governance mechanisms evolve to operate at this layer, enterprises will continue managing intelligent systems with tools designed for a pre-agent operating model.
That really highlights the limitations of traditional tools. If orchestration at the agent level is so important, how does this play out in real-world workflows? Let's explore how enterprises move from traditional workflows to multi-agent collaboration.
Okay, so I will explain a familiar scenario. A customer notices a billing error and contacts support. In a traditional model, this triggers a linear chain of events. Support logs the issue, escalates it to billing, waits for compliance review, and eventually involves technical teams. Even straightforward issues can take days to resolve under this model. In multi-agent system, each of those functions is represented by an intelligent agent. For example, the billing agent validates a claim, compliance agent checks for policy violations, technical agent investigates your system logs, and a customer experience agent evaluates the customer history and sentiment. So these agents don't wait for instructions, they collaborate autonomously within the defined constraints, negotiate trade-offs, and converge on a resolution, often far faster than traditional escalation paths. In many cases, a customer receives a correction, a clear explanation, and even a proactive concession before they have fully articulated the issue.
Thank you for breaking that down, Muneeb. It's clear how much faster and more autonomous these agents can be. That said, how do the architectural choices behind multi-agent systems impact their performance, scalability, and governance?
Yes, Manam, thanks for asking that. As multi-agent systems move into real operating environments, their architectures begin to show their consequences. For example, how agents are structured directly influences scalability, resilience, and governance under pressure. Two patterns show up consistently. In centralized architectures, agents operate against a shared global knowledge base and are coordinated through a central control layer. This model brings, early alignment, decisions remain consistent across the system, coordination is predictable, and governance is easier to establish during the initial rollout. As scale grows, the trade-offs become harder to ignore. The central layer becomes a systematic dependency, and any degradation at that point affects the entire system. Centralized designs, preserve the control, but they constrain adaptability as decision velocity and complexity increases. While in the decentralized architectures, agents coordinate directly with one another instead of relying on a single authority. This removes single points of failure and allows the system to continue operating even when an individual agent drop out or behave unpredictably. The challenge shifts from resilience to alignment. Without explicit intent, constraints, and shared objective, decentralized systems tend to optimize locally. Over time, this drift can move outcomes away from the organizational priorities.
That's a great point, Muneeb. So, when alignment becomes the real challenge, where do multi agent systems actually deliver tangible value in real world scenarios?
Across diverse enterprise environments, a consistent pattern emerges. Failures rarely stem from a lack of intelligence in the system. They occur when decisions spans teams, systems, and timelines that lack alignment. I have seen this clearly in healthcare, supply chain, and security-driven contexts. Decisions draw from multiple signals that evolve at different speeds and interact in unpredictable ways. In those moments, linear workflows fall behind. Multi-agent systems change outcome by coordinating those signals in real time, allowing responses to adopt as conditions shift. So what ultimately made the difference is not the better data or sophisticated model. It is actually the ability for agents to interact, negotiate, and adjust continuously, without waiting for centralized control. That's the point where multi-agents, move from concept to a real enterprise capability.
That's a fascinating point. So, once multi agent systems are running autonomously, what role does control play? Why does it become the defining question for enterprises?
As AI native workflows become more autonomous, control cannot remain peripheral. The challenge is no longer visibility but governance. A modern control layer has to operate at the workflow level, not the infrastructure level. In practical terms, that means it must be able to understand the structure and real-time state of each workflow that it runs, enforce enterprise and compliance policies dynamically, based on the context, allow the teams to inspect, debug, and intervene without shutting down healthy processes, and detect anomalies, by learning what normal behavior looks like, not just reacting to the failure. then turn observability into action, enabling precise intervention instead of blunt restarts. So this isn't a tooling discussion, it's an enterprise one. As autonomy moves into the core of operations, control becomes a mechanism that preserves trust. Much like ERP systems, one brought discipline to business processes, an AI native control layer brings discipline to intelligent systems.
That really puts the importance of control into perspective. Looking ahead, what should leaders recognize as they integrate multi agent systems into their core operations?
As multi-agent systems move into the core of business operations, the challenge is no longer about deploying AI. It is sustained and responsible operation at a scale. Customer service, like many other enterprise functions, has crossed the threshold. It is no longer a workflow to optimize, but a dynamic system where decisions unfold in parallel, coordination matters, and outcomes depend on how well autonomy is governed. Organizations that succeed will approach this shift deliberately. They will design interaction, accountability, and trust alongside intelligence. And those who do not risk investing in systems can observe but cannot confidently control. At Confiz, we work with enterprises to make sure this transition is practical, supporting AI driven operations across environments such as Dynamics 365 and helping teams move from experimentation to secure, dependable systems built to operate, with confidence and at scale.
Thank you, Muneeb, for sharing your time and such valuable insights on how enterprises can operate multi agent systems effectively and scale autonomous AI in customer service. For our viewers, if you're ready to rethink how your organization turns autonomy and data into actionable intelligence, contact us today to start the conversation. That wraps up this session of Beyond the Brief. Goodbye, and thank you for joining us.